Welcome to Neutral Voices. This is Voice of the People, and today we're going to get right into it because we have some spectacular voices in our building. We're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to go a little bit further. First of all, the man right here doesn't need any introduction, but we're going to let you tell people who you are and what you're here for.
My name is Marshall White, founder and CEO of Unity Performing Arts Foundation, here to discuss and talk about our vision for the future and Unity and the history and things that we have achieved here in this community.
Yes. Been here for a while.
Yay!
Yay. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, good evening. My name is Jordan Applegate. I am an alumni of the organization. I joined when I was 15 years old in the year of 2002, and I now serve on our board of directors.
Oh, wow.
Be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
My name is James Hunt. I also am an alumni. I joined the organization when I was 10 years old in 2004. I'm currently on staff as a technical service assistant.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Before we go any further, we want to welcome all three of you. But Mr. White, can you just give us a brief history of where you started and where you are now?
Wow, Clarence, we're going to be here a couple years, so let me get into it. The vision of Unity came to me around 1993 in dreams. And for 2 years, I wrote what I was seeing in my dream for 2 years before I even knew what this was about. In 1995, I was working with Purdue University, and I had a concert at Ohio State University. And when I was leaving this concert, this man came up to me while we were leaving the auditorium, my musicians and I, and he said, "I have a message to give you from God." Never met the person.
Oh, wow.
And all I can remember is he said his name was Prophet someone, and he was like an African guy. And he said, God has chosen you to lead the children in the next generation. And it just paralyzed me because for 2 years I was dreaming about this concept and did not have a clue what it was. And then after that, in 96, I left my father's church to start the vision. In 97, I put together a group of people, and we began strategically planning out the vision for actually 7 years through that whole process. And in 2000, we launched the first phase of it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Man, that's an amazing.
That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. Now, Jordan, how long have you been with the group?
Yeah, in 2002, I joined. I was a 15-year-old sophomore in high school and have been connected to the organization in some way, shape, or form since. So I had 3 years under the Unity umbrella and the mentorship of Mr. White and the amazing mentors at Unity. And then when I went off to college at Ball State University, it was really important for me to stay connected as an alumni. So I would come back for concerts and connect. And then I've had the opportunity to work in many different capacities. I was on staff. It was my first job out of college.
Oh, wow.
First job. And then I also had the opportunity to be the tour manager for our tour and Journey to the Vatican, a 2-week tour and 4-country tour in Europe.
That's awesome.
And
That's
now
amazing.
have the opportunity to serve on the board of directors and help shape the strategy and vision of the future.
Yeah, I can trade stories being a tour manager. That's not a joke, being a
No,
tour
that's
manager.
not.
You don't get off the clock being a tour manager.
Yeah. My main goal was don't lose a kid. So,
That's a lofty responsibility. So
Yeah.
so hey, I don't envy you on that. I didn't deal with children, but tour manager and Mr. Hunt again.
But
you
wait,
said you
but-
go
but
ahead.
real quick before you go to James. When you did that tour at the Vatican, when we were over there, I just want you to know you did do an amazing job. And you said the goal was not to lose the children; it should have been not to lose the adults.
That's what I said. Tour manager, you responsible
few
for
of
it
us.
all. They don't understand. They don't understand. But Mr. Hunt, you said you started at 10?
Yes, sir.
And what year was that?
2004.
Oh.
I joined with 7 of my siblings. We were active throughout high school. I stayed in contact with Mr. White throughout, and he's been my life coach more than anything else. He's always been available to me to come back to him. If I had something going on in my life, needed somebody to talk to, Mr. White was always answering the phone call for me. We'd go out to dinner, go out to breakfast, whatever it was. And I just came back on staff 3 months ago now it is, and my position has been transforming a little bit, but it's been exciting. It's been very exciting.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And y'all it's good that you come back and give back. You know, that's really big that
What's your pledge?
Wait,
we will reach back to give back.
That's the
it.
pledge. They learned that at 7 years old
Oh,
to learn how to give back. That's really the transformation of the culture.
yeah.
The culture is not going to change if we can continue to hoard what we have, but when we give it back and we pour back into, we invest back into, we create legacy, and that's what they are taught at young ages.
Yeah. Okay. I think Jill, Dr. V, which one has the next question? Anybody got the next question?
Oh, we
for
all got a million
Go ahead.
questions, but I was going to say the thing is we just want to make sure we have an amazing conversation. I just want to say it's a privilege to have y'all in the building.
That's the truth.
Because first of all, Mr. White, I know how extremely busy you are doing tons of things. I know you don't like the word busy. Real quick, can you break that down for America? When people say they're busy, I always like when you catch me when I say that.
There's a lesson we teach the kids that busy versus productively active.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes people are communicating busy because of activity,
Right.
but not productively producing anything.
Yeah.
And so we teach them to not strive to be busy, but to strive to be productively active.
Yeah. I could just be moving and be busy and
That's
not do
right.
anything. You
You
know,
could be
just
on the golf course,
yes,
busy. Not doing anything.
Not doing anything. That's a great way of thinking of that.
Yeah.
Now, I hear you say the motto and the goals. What other pillars or standards do you hold in your organization?
Oh my God, the whole concept, Clarence, is a foundational concept that we pour principle into kids because we have a program model called substance-based programming. So what we want to do is to leave with a child substance that can be passed on from them to their children, from their children to their children, from their children to their children. And so we work hard in pouring into that child substance, not just activity,
Right.
but substance. So some of the things that the young people learn, let's say, for instance, our core values,
Quality, equality, integrity, accountability, and respect.
our standard,
Excellence and nothing less.
our pledge,
We will reach back to give back.
the 9 components of excellence.
Passion, focus, discipline, integrity, determination, consistency, foresight, the ability to change, and the courage to win.
Prescription number 1.
Treat others as you would like to be treated.
And all of this stuff is
Oh, wow.
taught to these children
Wow.
so that they are learning to adapt. You know, you have to take principle into your life,
Right.
and it guides you.
Right. Right.
If you have enough principle, even in your mistakes, you can still be guided. And so that's our philosophy to help children have a life that is guided.
Yes, they need it.
But
And-
listen, wait, before you
Go ahead,
go away
Doctor.
from that, because that's amazing. Did we remember what age they say they were when they joined the choir?
6 and 7.
Right, but so I just want to say one thing about Marshall White. I believe you hold people to be accountable, and you I know at one point you was trying to get me to memorize something, and it was like, okay, exit stage. I'm like, I cannot do this.
Yeah.
So to hear somebody at this age and
Yes.
stage,
Yeah.
as long as it's been that you had to know that, and you still know it, that is
And now
remarkable.
he has children.
Right. And
That's what I'm saying.
And he's teaching his children the very things that we taught.
Y'all answered my question because I was going to ask, especially Mr. Hunt, because you say he's your life coach as well. How much of that did you get poured in as a young age that now you can pour out and still as learning because, every day you're still pouring out? How much did Mr. White give you in that time frame and that it's still giving you?
Well, it's funny you asked that. I've actually started to put together a compilation of these life lessons that Mr. White gave us. One thing that he requires of us as students and then and now is that when you start speaking, you take out a pen and pencil, you write down, you take notes so that you can go back and reflect on them and really burn them into your mind and your spirit. And there's plenty of times where I come up randomly and something will remind me of something that Mr. White said a long time ago. I mean, I could spiel off a couple of them to you, but they're just little sayings that you can repeat to yourself, that just things that don't go away, things in your mind.
Have at it.
There's one.
Yeah, give us
that
one or
says,
two.
Never say no to an opportunity to grow.
Oh, that's powerful.
Powerful.
Oh, that's powerful.
He speaks all the time about the standard of excellence that we have in the organization. And one thing, actually more recently, that we were speaking about is he was talking about the difference between excellence and perfection. Excellence allows room for mistakes, allows room for growth, where perfection you have to be top notch all the time. And just this, taking the time to explain little things about life like that with me. He's giving me financial advice, spiritual advice, relationship advice, and this has been for the last 2 decades now.
Yeah.
So there's a plethora of things that he's talking
And that's good. That's good. But before I go to Mr. Applegate, you preaching, but you're not in the pulpit, but you preaching. Because those are
it's a form of ministry that Clarence, that I thank God for, that it's not traditional.
Right.
It is what this community and what this generation needs.
Yes.
They're not really looking for a pulpit spokesman.
Right.
They're looking for a life person
Yes.
that can come around them and to pour into them. Our kids are desperate for someone they can touch and hold and talk to and get some insight from. They're desperate for it. I mean, I'm looking every school I go to, you can see it in their eyes. They come up to me after the sessions and go, how can I be a part of the organization? Because they're looking for something.
Right. And
I
Jordan,
got a question.
go ahead.
I got a question. You pour into a lot of the kids, and that's powerful. Now, how often are you able to pour into that child's parent?
That's a good question, E. We have a lot of parents who come to the sessions and keep coming and say to me all the time, I'm learning more than my child. And not only that, they get to the place where what can I do to be a part of the organization? Can I work for you? Can I volunteer, whatever? Because they are now moved by the lessons they hear their children receiving. And so that impact is also penetrating in the families, that those who come around.
Right.
Yes.
And that's good that you wrap around and keep the family in there, because too many organizations that deal with the children but won't deal with the parents. So it's good you have that wrap around.
One of my favorite things, especially with the whole family being a part of the organization, when I was working and while I was in it and as an alumni, I can't tell you how many times a parent is in a rehearsal and says, I've never seen my kid like that. And the lessons that they're learning in parenting and what motivates and what connects with their kid is like the parents are soaking in all of the knowledge and the wisdom that Mr. White has when it comes to connecting with youth and motivating them and finding out what makes youth tick and how to get them connected to their character and the leadership that is being developed every life lesson and every rehearsal that we're in.
Yeah, and that brings me to a question where I want to ask you, Mr. Jordan, because I know you are a performer within a city now. You have, is it Casual Friday? Is that it? Yeah. So with that, what lessons and what techniques and what were you taught that not only in your stage presence but in life, that normal jobs that you can use that you got from Unity?
Yeah. James hit on two of my favorites, which are never say no to an opportunity to grow. I learned that at a young age, and in fact, I told Mr. White this a couple months ago. I dropped my kid off at school every day, and a couple months ago I was driving him to school, and somehow in the conversation I found myself sharing the life lesson of never say no to an opportunity to grow with him, and that just was such a full circle moment and such a beautiful depiction of the impact that Mr. White has had. I'll tell you what, specifically in the music community, one of the best and most incredible compliments that I get is people who saw me as a 15-year-old and a teenager in Unity, and then they come up to me as an adult and they say, "Man, I can tell that you're one of Mr. White's students. Like there's no question that you're a Unity kid." And to me, that's because Unity, for me, is synonymous with excellence, and that's what I bring to everything that I do from a musical standpoint. Is I found myself in really striving for excellence, not for excellence sake, but I'm in Casual Friday, but I'm also a worship leader at a church, and I often say we need to bring excellence in what we do to our worship ministry, not to strive for excellence, but because I believe an excellent God deserves excellent praise.
Amen. Amen. But I think this is the first time I had you two in a room in years. But I'm going to segue and personally thank both of you. And I don't know if Mr. Hunt was in the group at the time, but you all performed at my cousin's funeral. Eugene Parker.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was just a time, going through and, you being there. And you and Eugene, you taught him how to play the piano, correct?
Sure. Taught jazz lessons.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, segue and personally thank you, from that for, in the care and concern that you showed for the family at the time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Eugene was a rock. I mean,
Yes.
you couldn't do any better than Eugene Parker.
Yeah.
When he called me one day and said, "Hey, Marshall, I was just thinking, man, I've been wanting to learn to play the piano." I was like, "Eugene, you want to play the piano?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, you got the time." He says, "I'll make the time." And I would go to his house every week and teach him jazz. And I'm talking chordal structures, intervals, modes, scales, and progressions. And he was learning that, and he was able to do some progressions and some scales with it. And I was really impressed with his dedication. We went out together and helped him buy a piano, and he was dedicated and never knew he was sick at all. Never knew.
Yeah.
He never even talked about it.
Right.
So, he's a great man. Great man. Will always be.
Yeah.
I have
Go ahead, Jill.
a question. I'm going to kind of. So, Mr. White, I have a two-part question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, you had done an interview or a write-up, and you had said, you talked about the dreams that you had, as you just mentioned. You said there was less than 3% minority participation in Allen County at the time that you began to form this plan. You had said you wanted to increase the minority participation in the arts in Fort Wayne. You also said that the great achievement of the Unity Performing Arts Foundation is its diversity. You said soulful, the word, has nothing to do with color. It's how you experience the art form. So here's what I want to ask you. I love.
That's good. You forgot you said that.
That's good stuff.
I'm always going to dig it up. So
Turns out America does read.
Yeah, that's good.
So I really I really like the way that you put that, but I have to say that the 3% number, that is concerning. So I want to ask you now, after your how far in over
22 years.
20 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the percent of minority participation is today?
I love numbers, so I would say, Jill, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why that inspired me to start Unity. I mean, back in the early 90s, there were arts groups in the city, but none was ran by blacks or Hispanics. None was highly participated by blacks. And we just did not have any footing in the community when it came to the arts.
Yes.
Our arts were where? In the church.
Yes.
So that's where we were singing and dancing
Right.
and everything.
Expressing
And
ourselves,
so
yes.
I spent years in the church teaching music and dance and all of those things. I said, why can't we bring it to the community so the community can enjoy what we're doing in the church? Mm-hmm. And so when I did this, we did a study in 1997, a survey, and it just flabbergasted us that we found that less than 3% of the minority population was actively involved in structural arts programming in the community. And so currently, our first year, Jill, we actually had 89% black children in the program. The first year.
First year.
And then 11% was Caucasian. So the concept was designed to attract kids from all backgrounds, but to attract minorities to the arts and give them a platform where they could be trained professionally.
Yes.
Because when you come to Unity, you want to go to Hollywood. You want to go to Broadway.
Right.
You want to go and do a recording artist. You want to be prepared for the big world. And we have kids now in Hollywood. We have kids on Broadway. We have kids recording. We have kids traveling as artists and working with great people because we train them to be professionals at a young age.
I know one personally, Tasha Evans.
Tasha Evans.
And her brother.
And Dominique.
Yes.
Yes.
Fatima.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know a few, but so Jordan, because I've seen Jordan perform several times.
And the numbers, right now, we have 60% African American in the program. And of that 60%, we have 19 zip codes, and actually is 5 other racial groups in the program.
Awesome.
Along with
I actually have a second part to that question as well. So you had said that the definition of soulful is full of or expressing feeling or emotion. You mentioned that it makes no distinction about who is expressing that emotion. Soulful art means you experience, communicate, and inspire. That is what we try to do. It is not just for black kids. It is not just for white kids.
Absolutely.
But programming speaks beyond race. So the last part of my question, obviously you have, all of you sitting up here, have impacted a lot of children, parents, people with this program, the creation of this program. But how has this program directly impacted your life?
Want me to start with that, Jordan? Yeah, I'll take that. Especially with Mr. White. Yeah, let me start by saying that I was never the soloist. I wasn't that guy. I was the guy in the choir stand doing the do-do-do-do-do. I know how to do that very well, but I was never the soloist. I was musically inclined. Musician throughout middle school, elementary school, high school. But the biggest impact that Mr. White and the organization has had on my life is what they're continuing to do, and that's to be available for me. These life lessons that Mr. White gives me, the one-on-one training time that we have. I mean, even now that I'm on staff, there's plenty of times in the evening where we'll get on Zoom call together, and we'll plan on tackling a certain issue as far as work is concerned, but we'll be on call for 2-3 hours talking about my life, talking about things that are going on around me. If he sees that I'm down or something like that, he'll take the time to talk, pull me aside, talk to me, take me to lunch, take me to breakfast, see what's going on in my life. That's the biggest impact. I credit Mr. White and the organization just as much as I do my parents for raising me to the person I am today.
Oh, wow.
And my parents know this, but I got structure and discipline growing up at home, so there's a foundation that I already had. But then coming to Unity, it's a completely different beast, a whole different monster. And when I happen to take well to it, I learned my memorization pretty quickly. I learned how to speak it. I got involved with the choir. And I took well to it, and if it wasn't for Mr. White and my parents echoing the things that he taught us, I can tell you for sure I wouldn't be who I am today or where I am today.
Wow, that's heavy.
Powerful.
That's powerful.
great.
Wow. It is. How does it feel, Mr. White, to hear how people see you and you give you your flowers while you're still yet here?
It is an overwhelming experience of joy. When all I wanted to do when I started Unity is to be able to give a kid something I didn't get. When I was younger, I was playing the piano. My dad did not buy me a piano. He never bought me a keyboard. He never was able to pay for me to have lessons. I didn't get training until I was in my 20s. I wanted children to get what I didn't get.
Right.
I never traveled overseas. I never went and saw the world. But we have been able to give kids what we didn't get, and that is a joy to see kids come out of that and to continue to give back to the world and to the community.
That's amazing. Now, do you
And
still
I
have
got a question, Clarence.
Okay, go ahead.
Marshall, my question is this: How did the Unity impact your life personally? Outside of everybody giving you accolades and doing. What have this program done for you personally?
Very good question, E. This vision, and I clearly tell people all the time, this is God's vision and my mission.
Right.
I do not own the vision.
Right.
This has transformed my life. Some of the things that I've learned to do since starting a nonprofit and the things that I have been able to obtain has been immensely amazing. My abilities and knowledge has gone to another level, and the things that I have been able to see and experience, the people I've met, it's just been amazing. And even in the challenging times, that I've had, Unity literally challenged my family. It caused me problems in my marriage. All of those things were all helpful for me becoming the man that I am today and the leader that I am today.
That's powerful. That's
And
powerful.
I would say that that's a good place for me to say, Mr. White, I know you talk a lot about the children and what you do for children. And then that was a great setup question for what I'm getting ready to say. Being a contractor, but a friend of Mr. White, and I also look at Mr. White as my mentor, I just want to say that not only do you give the young people in the community an opportunity to be great and awesome, you do the same for adults, because there's so many adults that were lost along the way, or, you know, even if they had great parents like James shared, you could have a great parent, but there's nothing wrong with having a great mentor in your life.
Amen.
And so I just want to
Amen.
say thank you for always being there for me and thinking about me when other people may have forgotten me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and we're going to ask the staff and you, Mr. White, but we're going to go start with James and work to you, because I know the bigger vision comes out of you. But where is Unity going in the next 3, 5, 10 years? James?
Oh, goodness. Well, I could tell you our vision plan, but I'm sure Mr. White will touch more on that. Right now, you know, COVID definitely took its toll on the organization. By the grace of God and the staff that we had, they stayed afloat, they stayed alive, and they took care of business. But now that we're getting the ball back rolling full force, what I want to do is just play my role. I want to play my part, do what I can do as an alumni, having gotten the training, having the mentorship from Mr. White. I just want to do what they need me to do to push the organization forward. Again, I can tell you the vision plan, what our steps are, what our goals are, but right now, what I want to do, I just want to do what's necessary for me to do to help play my part.
Yeah. Jordan, the same question.
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting phase and season of Unity, and Mr. White and I have had a lot of conversations. Obviously, I'm serving on the board, so we talk a lot of strategy and vision. The beautiful thing about this season is Unity, for the first time, is starting to see the fruits of its labor from the early 2000s, right? So some of us early members, I joined in 2002, 2 years after the organization started. Most of us that were early members are now into our 30s or our mid-30s. So individuals are starting to become leaders in the communities that they're in. We certainly have a long list of individuals who are Unity students who are leaders in our local community, but also a national reach of people who are doing amazing things. So I think the vision is now on the alumni's back. It's on people like myself and James and the individuals that Mr. White talked about that are on Broadway and in Hollywood and things like that, to make sure that we are living up to the pledge, which is we will reach back to give back.
That's powerful. All right, Mr. White, where's Unity going?
Well,
now?
our vision is a 5-phase vision plan. The first phase is to launch 6 artistic programs, and we've launched all but one, which is the drama program, and then the soulful orchestra we want to launch. The second phase is to launch an Academy of Arts and Training, that we've only launched one form of that, one phase of that, and that's piano, so we do training. The third phase is a leadership module, where we actually will create an environment where kids that don't want to have anything to do with the arts, but they want the leadership training, they want all of the character development, they want exposure and connection to the business world and to the professional world. And then the fourth phase is to build Unity Center for the Arts and Youth Development downtown, a $30 million project, 100,000 square foot building.
wow.
That will house training and development for kids, pre-college training, by the age, they start at the age of 2 years old. And then the fifth phase is to replicate the model throughout the country. So Unity Performing Arts Chicago, Unity Performing Arts Dallas, Unity Performing Arts Houston. So we have launched the first replication in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh.
So we did that in 2017. So that the future of Unity is amazingly bright.
Yeah, that's good. And Mr. White, sorry our time is winding up, but we need to have you guys back here. We're going to figure out how to get you back here as your progression goes.
I'll come back anytime James and Veronica calls.
We're going to make that happen. We're going to make that happen. We thank you all for being with us. And,
Thank you.
Nice.
we got a video we're going to lead out, and then we're going to come back and close out the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm feeling real good, and I can say the same thing about the audience. Are you guys feeling good tonight?
How you doing, Fort Wayne? It's good to see you. Is there anybody in the house tonight ready to praise the Lord?
Mission statement.
Unite and empower our members with artistic excellence by promoting training, discipline, professionalism, and teamwork in a positive environment that allows every person the opportunity to grow and express their natural artistic abilities as they follow and fulfill their dreams.
The best part of Unity for me is the opportunity to grow and develop truly meaningful relationships with other young people, with other adults who share the same values and principles as you. I did learn how to sing a little bit, not a lot.
The favorite thing that I've learned in Unity, among other things, is being happy for others' success.
The best part of being in Unity is you get to travel and go places you've never been before.
I've learned that you have to be disciplined and consistent.
The best part of Unity is eating pizza with my friends and singing.
One of the best parts about Unity for me is that when I come to rehearsal, I know that it is a safe environment, and that's so important because at school you don't get that.
Getting out of your box so you can talk loud, stay focused, be consistent.
One of the best parts of being involved in Unity is the sense of community.
That was a family of 5.
Okay. We're back, and we thank you again. Awesome. That's powerful. Yes. We've seen a couple of people, a young Jordan and a Doc V being busy. And we're going to keep focusing. Again, Mr. White and all of you, we're going to have you back sometime soon.
Can I say this about, we're taking new students now. So 7 years old to 19, you can register at Unity Performing Arts Foundation, UPAF.com, 260-481-6719, and you can get your children involved right now.
Yeah, and we'll post that on our Facebook page and our website. Okay. But we do have to get out of here. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you all for watching us. We can't live the people without telling them.
Always protect your mind.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good.